Welcome back to the channel, and let's talk about the best open side flankers on earth. I'm Tim and this is Egg Chasers. And pretty cold at the minute, isn't it? I'm just about to leave to go to Welford Road to work on Champions Cup game between Leicester Tigers and Ulster, and just basically getting all my layers together. And this is the last thing I do before I walk out the house. It is Baltic outside. So fair play to any fans that turn up to watch the rugby in the UK and Ireland this weekend. But this video is looking at the best, typically number sevens. As I discussed on the blindside flanker video, it's probably worth having a quick chat about what an open side flanker even is. Generally speaking, we're in number 7 in most countries. Obviously, South Africa have traditional roles, but flip the number 6 and number 7 over. But France don't really have traditional flanker roles like the rest of the world. So generally speaking, when I just say a blindside flanker, I'm talking a player that could slot in at lock, an extra line out forward, a big defensive unit, big beast of a fella. Whereas with an open side flanker, generally speaking, it's like a breakdown specialist, a jackal threat, a support runner, someone who's a link man between forwards and backs, always on the shoulder of a man when he makes a break. And that's what I'm talking about with this player right now. It's not clear cut, but as best as I can, I've split the flankers into 6s and 7s. And last time out, the top 10 list looked like this. And much like the blindside flankers, almost need to rip that up and start again, because Sam Cane's retired. Marcos Kremer is now on the blindside flanker list. If you missed that, it's in the channel. Go and check out that and the rest of the videos so far. Lavani Bottia, number 1 there. Immense player. Is he even playing for Fiji anymore? I don't actually know if he's retired. He hasn't played for them since the Rugby World Cup. And there's a couple of players who on this list have proved me wrong. Starting though at number 10. And like I say, give me your thoughts in the comments down below. Tell me who you would have in, what order, how you rank them. Let's just start a discussion. I'd love it if I would earn your subscription and give the video a thumbs up as well. And a reminder that this top 10, again, is based on current and recent form, but also historic form and a little bit of gut feeling, my opinion, as well, thrown in for good measure. So I've got Jack Morgan back in at number 10. He's back fit, which is huge for Wales. He played 80 minutes against Australia and South Africa. He can play across the back row. So I would say, despite Wales being really bad, despite Jack Morgan having missed a lot of rugby, he is an outside bet for the Six Nations, for the British and Irish Lions. So a huge Six Nations tournament for him. So glad to see him back. Because he's got the number 7 jersey back for Wales and nudged Tommy Reffell to the bench, means I didn't see as much of Tommy Reffell, so Tommy Reffell drops out. On to number 9 then, and Rory Darge goes up 1 spot. Just like Jack Morgan, Rory Darge is 24 years of age, got a lot of rugby still to play, and is already very, very good. That Ferguson, Darge, Dempsey back row for Glasgow and Scotland has been brilliant, won the URC, and it's one of the best Scotland teams that we've seen. Whether they can actually convert that into big wins and tournament victories, we'll wait and see. But Rory Darge is a jackal threat at the breakdown. Kind of a classic number 7, although a little bit bigger than many number 7s. He's a big fella, can put it about physically. Rory Darge, another player, could get to Australia with the British and Irish Lions. A huge Six Nations for him. Number 8, Michele Lamaro. Only 26. The amount of rugby he's played, must be around 50 caps already. Talismanic for Italy, and he was the skipper and an ever-present for them in their best ever Six Nations performance. They've got a good crop of loose forwards of Italy. Michele Lamaro is, he slotted in at number 8 for the odd game, but he is your archetypical number 7 for Italy. And can they have another good Six Nations? If they can, they need this guy fit and firing. So, on with the list. And I've gone for last time's number 1, Lavani Bottia, down to number 7. His last game for Fiji was at the Rugby World Cup when he was just sensational, unplayable. And in my opinion, the best 7 on the planet. He's played for La Rochelle since then, but he has not played international rugby. I don't know whether he has retired. He's 35 years of age now, so I don't know whether he will play for Fiji again. I hope so, because he's so good, but consequently he is dropping down the list. If this is the last we see of him on the player power rankings, he's been up there at the top and he's been one of the best players in world rugby over the last decade. Absolute beast of a man. Fraser McReight, Number 6, another player just like Jack Morgan, who's had his share of injury issues. He came back just like Jack Morgan and showed just what Australia have been missing. He played 4 times in the Rugby Championship. He missed 4 games in the Rugby Championship, and he came back for those 2 New Zealand matches at the end and was sensational. A try in each game, and just makes things work for Australia. Just brings that balance along with Valetini and Wilson in the back row. And he played 80 minutes in those November matches against England and Wales, and also in that close defeat to Ireland. Fraser McReight, jackal threat, support lines. Yeah, when I described an open side flanker, this is the guy I was describing. All of the things that Fraser McReight does really well is classic number 7. And Australia have made a few of them over the years, and they've got another one here. Number 5 then, Juan Martin Gonzalez. This is a guy who is harder to place. What list do you put him on? Like Rugby Championship, he started 1 game at 6. He started 2 games at 8. And the rest of the time he's been number 7. And most recently in the November test, he has been number 7. Now, Argentina do not do the classic blindside, open side thing. Much like France, they do it a little bit differently. And they just get the blend right, however you go. The thing about Juan Martin Gonzalez, he can do it all. He is a line-out forward. He can put in big defensive shots, but he's a great support runner, brilliant hands, runs free in wide channels, great jackal threat. I guess that's the biggest compliment I can pay to him, is he could be on a number 8 list, a number 6 or a number 7. He's absolutely immense. And he's in the top 5, having moved over from the blindside flank. I think number 7 or a classic open side flanker feels more the mould that you'd put Juan Martin Gonzalez in than any other. And it's good, as I mentioned when I was talking about Kremer and Matera in the last video, it's going to be interesting how Argentina manage their resources when you have got those 4 great back row players, Kremer, Matera, Gonzalez and Oviedo. And watch out for him on the number 8 list, which will be the next video coming. I'm doing 1 a day until I've done the whole team and then reflected on it as well. So hit subscribe in the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you reckon about Gonzalez. Into the number 4, and there are some big names that haven't featured. Is that because they've dropped out, or is that because they've gone up? Well, in the case of Sia Khaleesi, it's because he has rocketed back up the list. I thought we might be seeing the decline of Khaleesi, but he has been brilliant in recent months. He started 8 matches for South Africa in the last year. He's actually played more minutes since the Rugby World Cup than he did during the Rugby World Cup. Look at the England and Wales games in November. He played the whole match. I was there at Twickenham for that game. He played the whole match. He played 73 minutes against Wales. Gone are the days, seemingly, where Sia Khaleesi gets taken off after 45 minutes almost automatically because he's been so good. I remember in the Ireland test in Pretoria, or was it the one in Durban, or was it both? I remember thinking what an immense game Khaleesi was having, and then he got taken off like 45 minutes, and it just felt like everything sort of dropped a little bit from South Africa's point of view when that happened. He's been massive for them, and obviously we know what he's like as a leader, but just as a pure rugby player, number 4 on my list, just behind Sam Underhill. Absolutely gutted, just for the tournament, as well as obviously selfishly being an England fan, gutted that Sam Underhill is out injured. Looks like he might have a serious injury. An injury has plagued his whole career, and he's had such a good, relatively injury-free 2024. Whenever he was available, he started 7 for England, and he was outstanding. In an England team which stuttered, Sam Underhill was a massive bright spark. Try versus South Africa, couple of tries versus Japan in the 2 tests there, but just generally just going around and obliterating the breakdown, obliterating people. An absolute ball of muscle. He looks like an orc out of Lord of the Rings, and he just plays like he's medieval as well. Absolutely love Sam Underhill. Get well soon, fella. Number 2, Francois Crowe. And again, this is another opportunity to have that discussion about what is a blindside flanker, what is an open side flanker. France don't do it in the traditional way. If you had to sort of break the flankers a little bit from a French point of view, they have aerial flankers and ground flankers. So Charles Olivon is like an extra line-out jumper and there for kick receipts, but also can do the support line thing. Francois Crowe is just a breakdown demon, which is why, even though he wears number 6 quite often, 6 and 7 doesn't mean the same thing. Francois Crowe plays like a 7, a classic 7 in a lot of respects. Although like I say, France don't do it like that. And you look at Toulouse and he'll be wearing 6 against the Sharks later today as I record this. But regardless of whatever list he was going to be on, he was going to be right up there because he is an outstanding rugby player and one of the players, bearing in mind Olivon is out injured for France, even more responsibility on the shoulders of Francois Krol for France during the Six Nations. And at number 1, Josh van der Fleer, who I dropped down a few places last time. And all I have to do is hold my hands up and say, I was wrong. I'm sorry, Josh. I got it wrong. He wasn't quite as influential as he had been previously when I judged him last time out. Do this sort of every 6 months. But this season, the November tests, oh my goodness me, Josh van der Fleer has been playing like the world player of the year, Josh van der Fleer, from whatever year that was, 2021? I can't remember what year. He's been absolutely sensational and comfortably, as it stands right now, the best 7 on the planet for me. A machine. The amount of work he gets through. And it just goes to highlight, bearing in mind you've got Caelan Doris at number 8, Josh van der Fleer at 7. There wasn't a single Irishman on the list of blindside flankers in the previous video. That's a gaping hole in the Irish team. Because if you put Tadhg Beirne there, I don't know. Would they be... I think they need a specialist classic 6. So someone needs to step forward and step up to the level of Josh van der Fleer. He has been absolutely amazing. Shoe-in for the British and Irish Lions, in my mind, to start. I don't see anyone else coming close. The one question mark for Ireland is not only who's going to be playing 6, are they going to have to keep playing Tadhg Beirne there, or is someone else going to step forward, but it's who plays 7 if Josh van der Fleer is out injured. I guess that's why these summer internationals during the British and Irish Lions are really important, and we're going to see some good young players coming through. But there you go. It's actually the experienced ones that are near the top of the list once again. Sam Underhill, the youngest of them, he's 28, but Francois Krol 30, Sia Khaleesi 33, Josh van der Fleer 31, but a load of good young guys amongst the guys further down the list, and that is a cracking bunch of open side flankers. Right, I am getting myself off to the rugby. I'll be back on the channel tomorrow with another video, of course. Looking at the number 8s. Wrap up warm. Unless you're south of the equator, of course, in which case the weather's probably quite nice where you are. Hit subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. I'll see you on the next one.